volcano near the capital
Land,
could be on the
air, and sea travel shall be restricted.
More than 200,000 informal settlers may also be displaced.
President Rodrigo Duterte did outline
the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act.
It only took Typhoon Bangko a few hours to submerge more than half.
We had to do this to change the mindset of people.
Challenging as it may seem because of the devastation caused by typhoons Rolly, Ulysses, and Vicky and the outbreak of coronavirus pandemic, 2020 remained a productive year for the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, its regional offices, particularly in Cordillera Administrative Region, Ilocos Region, Cagayan Valley Region, Mimaropa Region, and Bicol Region achieved and even exceeded the year's targets in environmental protection and natural resources conservation.
Bayanihan, we heal as one. This year has a very important story. In the midst of COVID-19, it's an opportunity to look at the world as it is and to focus on solutions to some of our greatest problems. The human race has never had to face the challenges like we do now, but together we can overcome them. While the COVID-19 is probably the most relevant global issue right now, the fact remains that climate change still exists and its impacts continue to pose threats to us. Similar to the COVID-19 pandemic, our environmental problems need a global response. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources has seen it a significant moment when it committed to carry out the 10 priority programs, a commitment to fight climate change, to protect the environment, to sustainably manage natural resources, and to alleviate poverty. Despite the challenges and restrictions brought by the pandemic in 2020, we have done so much under each priority program. On clean air, on clean water, on solid waste management, on geohazard, groundwater assessment, and responsible mining, on enhanced national greening program, on intensified forest protection and anti-illegal logging, on enhanced biodiversity, on scaled-up coastal and marine ecosystems, and improved land administration and management. Apart from these, the DENR CAR has managed to mobilize its personnel to assist in the nation's COVID-19 response. Despite mobility restrictions and upturned schedules, The DENR car has adapted to new normal standards, going back to full operations while making sure its personnel are safe from the coronavirus disease. The office's manpower was also boosted by the continuous hiring and promotion. In between hectic schedules are the celebration of important events such as the Cordillera Month and Indigenous Peoples Month, which celebrated the unique Cordilleran identity. As we recover from the pandemic, the DENR car hopes to go back to normal, while carrying with us the lessons and the best practices that this year has taught all of us in 2021. Things may have changed, but public service remains.
Amidst the various glitches and challenges that plagued Ilocos region, like any other regions in the country, due to the coronavirus, DENR Region 1 has achieved its share and commitment towards an exceptional delivery of mandated public and social services in regards to our environment and natural resources. Minimum health protocols are strictly implemented in the DENR Regional Office and its field offices. This is to ensure the health and wellness of every personnel in order for them to perform their respective functions and achieve the goals in the avenues of the 10 priority programs set forth by our Secretary. These humble achievements will fully contribute to the targets set by the Department, and these noteworthy accomplishments are impossible without our partners and policymakers from various sectors of the civil society. Here are our achievements for 2020. For Clean Air Program, the region was able to accomplish 192% of its target, consisting of activities such as issuance of notice of violations for 414%, air quality sampling station operated and maintained at 100%, number of firms compliant to standards with reports submitted at 129%. Clean Water Program was able to attain 186%, where Region 1 was able to issue 380 notices of violations from the annual target of 62 NOVs. This program also includes the designation of WACMA Action Plan formulated and monitored, number of esteras adopted within WACMA, among others. For solid waste management, Region 1 was able to achieve 187%, wherein the region was able to evaluate and endorse 33 10-year solid waste management plans out of the 32 target, supported functional existing materials recovery facilities, 10-year solid waste management plan monitored and assessed, monitored sanitary landfills, and inspected open and controlled dump sites. Just like these three major programs of the agency, other environment and natural resources programs were also conducted in the region. For residential lands, the region was able to approve and transmitted to the Registry of Deeds 4,689 patents with an area of 143.63 hectares, equivalent to an accomplishment of 104%. Agricultural free patent attained 144% accomplishment with 4,305 patents transmitted to the Registry of Deeds. For special patent, the region achieved an accomplishment of 174%, wherein 87 special patents were approved and transmitted to the ROD. With the reforestation efforts of the government, the enhanced National Greening Program was able to accomplish 100% in all its target activities, where a total of 5,082,813 seedlings were produced, which is equivalent to 110%. The region was also able to establish a total area of 3,781 hectares of NGP plantation, which is equivalent to 100%. As part of the maintenance and protection, replanting of the 2018 and 2019 established plantation was also conducted. Regular patrolling, maintenance of fire lines and lookout tower, ring weeding, brushing, among others were also conducted. Just like these major ENR programs, the DENR Ilocos region will not break off in sustaining the gains we achieved for this year. We look forward towards a cleaner air, cleaner water, and a more manageable and sustainable solid waste management, a cleaner and healthier environment, and a sustainable natural resources that augments a better quality of life of every Filipino and for the next generations to come, and as we aim for a COVID-free Philippines. On behalf of the head of the DENR Ilocos region, Attorney Crisaldi M. Barcelo, a prosperous, safe, and healthy New Year to all.
The Department of Environment and Natural Resources has continued to be at the forefront in ENR management in Cagayan Valley amidst the COVID-19 pandemic and natural calamities. The leadership of Regional Executive Director Gwendolyn C. Bambalan has ushered in new developments which focused on the priority thrusts of Secretary Roy A. Simatu. These are creation of the Regional Environment Law Enforcement Council or RELEC, which formalized the arrangements among enforcement agencies on intensified forest protection and anti-illegal logging, collaboration with DPWH and mining companies for reforestation projects, strengthening of partnership with the LGUs, dialogues with the people's organizations, improvement of forest product monitoring checkpoints, Regional Committee on Deliberation of Environmental and Administrative Cases that facilitated resolution of land, environmental, and administrative cases. Conduct of regular executive committee meetings and management conferences that ensure transparency and participation in addressing operational problems. These initiatives resulted in the improved performance of Region 2. For clean air, the Environmental Management Bureau issued a total of 197 permits to operate. Permits of the more than 900 industries in the region were monitored and the anti-smoke belching campaign was implemented. Ambient air quality monitoring of the Fiesta Airshed was also conducted. Under clean water, 332 discharge permits were issued, while 346 firms were surveyed and 997 establishments were monitored. Ambient water quality monitoring was conducted in priority water bodies and recreational waters. For solid waste management, 39 sanitary landfills and 142 materials recovery facilities were monitored. The closure and rehabilitation of 26 dump sites were also monitored and assessed. Under the Geohazard Groundwater Assessment and Responsible Mining, the Mines and Geosciences Bureau completed 8 vulnerability and risk assessments and 1 karst subsidence assessment. Groundwater assessment of 4 LGUs was also conducted, while 2 agreements and 79 other mining-related permits were issued. For forest and watershed management through the Enhanced National Greening Program, a total of 1,649 hectares of plantations were established and 1,691,666 seedlings were produced. The 12,902 hectare plantations established since 2018 were maintained and protected. The mechanized and modernized forest nursery, clonal nursery, and individual plus trees were maintained. Soil and water impounding structures were constructed. Through the Forest Land Management Project, 11 agroforestry support facilities were turned over to LGUs and partner people's organizations after their completion. A total of 20,493 hectares of plantations were maintained and protected. The region recorded 240 incidents of apprehension, with a total volume of 435.71 cubic meters of forest products and 83 units of conveyances apprehended. 59 cases were filed in court and 27 persons were convicted for violation of PD 705. A total of 11,400 kilometers of forest conservation areas were patrolled. Using the Lawin Forest and Biodiversity Protection System were identified threats addressed. Under biodiversity conservation, the 14 protected areas were protected and maintained through survey, biodiversity monitoring, and protected area management board meetings. 20 ecotourism facilities were maintained and 11 caves were assessed. To aid in biodiversity conservation, 62 wildlife enforcement officers were deputized and wildlife traffic monitoring units were mobilized. For coastal and marine ecosystems rehabilitation, 429 hectares of corals, 31 hectares mangroves, and 133 hectares of seagrasses, including the water quality of 4 protected areas, were monitored. The 4 marine protected area networks were also strengthened and operationalized, and biodiversity-friendly enterprise of 9 people's organizations within the NIPAS MPAs were enhanced. With the improved land administration and management, a total of 641 agricultural patents and 1,719 residential fee patents were issued. 15 Memoranda of Partnership Agreement were signed with LGUs that intensified the titling process. To raise the bar of performance by the region, 62 appointments were issued and 21 learning events were conducted. These achievements were realized through the sense of unity exhibited by each personnel from the DENR, MGB, and EMB in Region 2.
Though restricted in actions because of the nationwide community quarantine due to the COVID-19 pandemic, DENR regional offices in Luzon did not stop working hard for our environment and even extended help to our fellow citizens who were hardly hit by this pandemic.